Hi, everyone. My name is CK Lin. I'm here to share with you another powerful, simple, easy to implement tip to empower you to overcome the tyranny of your mind. A lot of times when people talk about this phenomenon, they use different words to describe this. They use words like inner critic, they use words like neurotic thoughts, they use words like mental chatter, they use words like the tyranny of the mind, they use words like head trash. All of these words are effectively saying the same thing. This inner voice that we have are not being conducive, not being constructive, empowering us. So there's a lot of theory that can go along with that. I'm not going to get into the psychoanalysis of it. And as long as you're a human being, you have them. But how come some people are able to really be powerful and big and fully self-actualized and fully self-transcended in spite of uh, these phenomena? My point is to share with you how we could actually have them and still not being bogged down by these negative voices in our head. It was Albert Einstein who said the single most important decision that we make in our life is to choose whether or not this universe is friendly or not. And this delves right into what we're about to talk about today, which is what is the mindset of how you think about this universe, this world, this nature, your place in the world? Are you thinking from the place of things are happening to me? Are you thinking about this universe as things are happening by me? Or are you thinking about things are happening for me? Or thinking about the things are happening through me? Or you're thinking about things are happening as me? So as you can imagine, there's a greater relationship to the greater universe overall, right? So if you're all the way in the spectrum of things are happening to me, so you're separate from the universe and things are just happening to you, effectively, you are the victim of all these circumstances, right? On the flip side of the spectrum is things that are happening as me. So you are the collective whole. So now you can operate from that state, right? So why I want to talk about this is this. If this is the fundamental relationship to you and the rest of the universe, it has a super important cascading effect to the rest of your decisions, relationships, and anything that you do in creating the life that you always want to create. And one may argue, hey, CK, there are times when I feel victimized, things are happening to me, and there are times that I feel things are happening by me. There are times where I think things are happening for me, through me, and then as me. There are times to do all of that. I agree with you 100%. Yes. And what I'm talking about here is what is the habit, the rituals, the affinity, the preference that when things happen that you don't like, what is your immediate reaction? Where do you go to habitually? That's the default state that what I'm discussing here, because that determines again the cascading effect that beliefs has on all your words, actions, choices that you make in your life. As you can imagine, if things are happening to you, then the cascading effect of that would be, let me protect myself as much as possible. Let me create as many walls as possible, as many barriers as possible, such that I can be protected, such that my family can be protected, such that my business could be protected, right? So that's a strategy to survive in that mental model, in that context. If you really just even hearing this, receiving this, or speaking it, then you can actually feel the energetic state that you have. Things are happening to me. There's nothing I could do about it. Okay. So that's one mental model and how you fit into the rest of the world. If things are happening by you, then you are yourself, your sovereign self. You have your own agency. The strategy to succeed in that context, in that game, is Well, let me be as smart as possible. Let me be as resourceful as possible. Let me be as abundant as possible. Let me be as strategic as possible. Let me work as hard. Let me hustle as much as possible. So that would be the strategy to win in that game if things are happening by you. William Henley said, I'm the captain of my soul. I'm the master of my fate. Effectively, is operating from this place. Anything that's happening in the world is happening by me. So if you operate from this place, then any injustice that you see in the world must happen through you, by you, to actually see a change in the world. The next mental model is things are happening for you. The idea here is that anything that happened to you is the way to empower you to grow. That actually for you, for your growth, in service of you, for you. As you can see, there's different energetic imprints and it feels differently. I feel things are happening for me, in service of me, in service of my own hero's journey. That actually served me a lot more. And if things are happening for you, then the strategy to win that game would be, let me derive from all the lessons that I can learn. What is the lesson in this? What's the learning in this? How can I learn as quickly as possible? What is the deeper meaning of it? How could I learn and unlearn certain things that I've thought about in life? So for people who wanna learn this, love to collect knowledge and insights and mental model. The fourth mental model is around things that are happening through me, right? So I'm here in service of the grander design of the world, and I'm merely a conduit, a channel, a vessel to allow the divine to flow through me in service of the greater design. If you think about it from that point of view, then your thoughts, your emotions, your bodily sensation, these are transient states that you experience if that's the mindset that you operate from. If things are happening through me, then you want to then zoom out, look at how can I stay as equanimous as possible, as neutral as possible, that there is no good or bad in this particular incident that happens, and then how could I actually use it in service of the greater purpose in life. And any words that you have, any ideas that you have, any ventures that you have, any things that you bring forth and you actualize in the world, these are all in service of the greater whole, the collective whole. And the strategy to win there is a greater level of surrender, greater level of trust, greater level of following my intuition, greater level of cultivating this flow. How can I actually tap into flow more such that I can actually express the divine through me? Elizabeth Gilbert, in her TED Talk, talked about the idea of accessing her muse. A muse is some external entity that visits her, that brings her ideas. And if she is not ready to manifest or actualize the idea, the muse would then visit another channel, another vessel, another conduit that's more ready. And she cited examples of how Michael Jackson and Prince are in competition in manifesting similar ideas. So coming from the world of engineering and science and technology, I've actually seen similar ideas bubbling up from different places of the world almost at the same time. So there's some circumstantial evidence that points to what she's alluding to, right, as a conduit. And the last level would be things are happening as me. So meaning I not even just a part of the collective consciousness, but I am the collective consciousness. So how can I actually manifest in the world the way that I want to manifest in the world through how everyone is all a part of me? This, I would have to say, I don't have a whole lot of experience with this and only glimpses of it during my deep meditation session. So I have a concept of it, an image of it, but I think it would be too egoic to even comment on what this means. So let me do a quick recap. Things are happening to you, things are happening by you, things are happening for you, things are happening through you, and these are happening as you. Some of you that may be thinking, well, CK, I can think of in circumstances where in all levels, right? You're right. It's a whole spectrum of it, and it's so what we're talking about here. What is your preference? What is your affinity? What is your sort of the default state that you normally think about? Let's say when something unfavorable, something that you don't want happen, what is your immediate response to that? Do you fall right into, oh my God, this is happening to me, I'm victimized? Or, hey, I can hold responsibility. How am I responsible for this thing happening right here? Or, hey, this is in greater service for my own growth and development. Where's the silver lining? How can I find this? Or this happens for a reason, right? In the greater design, these are happening through me, so I can play a greater role, right? The source of my superpower is my trauma, right? How can I actually turn this in service of now others? And these are happening as me. Oh, I manifested this somehow, some way. So in seeing where your narrative, and I wanted to say this is not just esoteric, intellectual level. If you really think about what is our habitual narrative that we have, our relationship to the greater world, this is a fundamental way of how we see our role in the world. Ultimately, what I'm saying here, why I want to even talk about it ultimately, is if you think about this fundamental beliefs of your role in the greater universe. Are you a separate player and things are just happening without your control? Or are you a player and the playwright and the actor and the director all at the same time? Or are you the whole thing altogether as you altogether? So fundamentally, whatever your narrative is, that will determine effectively your own subconscious and conscious strategy to win in this game that's in your subjective reality. So be cognizant of that. When you have unfavorable events that happen in your life, let's say for a lot of people today would be COVID, right? If you use 2020, COVID, business reset, social distancing, working from home, all of this as a way to help illuminate things that you weren't conscious of before, then that actually will allow you to carve out even a better strategy, a better tactics, a better path to create the life of deeper success and fulfillment. Subscribe to this channel if you find this helpful, and comment below and tell me how you've taken this video and apply it in your life to create more success and more fulfillment in your life. Take care now. Bye.